So in today's video I want to talk to you about how I predict the weather and how I'm using this information to choose the right location. You know, every type of weather asks for a different location, or maybe it's the other way around. Every location asks for a different type of weather. And today I want to show you the apps that I use, the websites I use to gather the right information about the weather that is coming, and then which weather suits which area the best. So let's quickly dive into this video and I will tell you all about the weather. So the first thing that I always do, and this always happens the day before I'm wanting to leave. So if I know I have some time tomorrow morning, then today I will do my weather checking. So first I just go to good old Google. You can see I just typed in weather Postbank, that's the area that I've been in last Sunday's video, and I just check for the coming week, what kind of weather is it going to be. I can change this for, let's say, a little town called Offerde. That's actually where I come pretty often. It's a place with a lot of local fog. I just look at it, if it's going to be a cloudy day, a sunny day, what kind of weather is going to be in this specific location. There's also this website. This is the site from the Royal Dutch Meteorological Institution. I practice that. But every country has its own weather service for a nationwide weather prediction. And this is the one from the Netherlands. And it's not local based. This is a nationwide based weather prediction. And I often look down here also, and you will see that it's actually pretty different to what the Google weather prediction says. So yeah, tomorrow it's going to be sunny, no rain, and there's going to be no wind at all, or not much wind, which is often a good indicator here. Then what I usually do is I read this story about the weather prediction, and I'm not interested about today. The only thing I'm interested in is what kind of weather is it going to be tonight. So if I read this, it says it's going to be a clear day, a clear night, dry, and locally a chance on some fog. The temperatures are between 14 and 6 degrees. So it's going to be a real cold night and yeah, how do you say that? A chance of fog, and that's usually a very good indication. And it says tomorrow morning, oh, let's read it here. It says tomorrow morning, there's nothing said about fog disappearing. Usually if it's the type of fog that's going to last longer, it will say that this fog is going to yeah, vaporize in the morning and then the sun will come through it. But there's nothing there saying it. So the next thing that I always do, I go and check to my cloud radar, or in this case the rain radar. Every country has its own rain radar. This is the one from the Netherlands, but every country I've been to, also on my European road trip, if you just search for rain radar, Italy, France, Switzerland, Denmark, England, you will always find a map like this where you can see what kind of weather it's going to be. And in this case you can alter it to 8 hours in front. So if you look at this at night, there's a really good chance you can see, oh, what kind of clouds are they going to pass over my house during this night or over this location. But this only shows the rain and thunder. If there's something on it, it's probably raining there, and the red drops are usually thunderstorms. So there is another site, it's actually the same area, but it looks at clouds. And you can see it's a totally different map here, but also you can put this in advance for, let's say, 3 hours, or if you're looking at tomorrow's weather, you can advance it to 24 hours. You know, this isn't as accurate as you would want to, but it gives you a good indication. So if you flow this around, you can see that there is still a decent amount of clouds here, supposed to be here in the south of the Netherlands, and the northern part is pretty open without any clouds. So why do I look at this particular radar? You know, if you know that an area is open without clouds and there are clouds forming in a particular area, you can use it to your advantage. If you want to photograph some red sky, for example, it's very handy to know where this particular cloud is starting to form. And for example, if you look at this specific shot here, let's pause it for a second here, you can see that there is a cloud over here. So this area is open without any clouds. So if you would position yourself somewhere here and the sun rises from this side, it will shine underneath this particular cloud, creating this red sky. And that's actually what I often look for on a map like this, places that might end up having some red sky. So the next app that I'm often using, and this is probably the best app maybe in the world. You know, I've used this in all countries that I know, and it often predicts the weather really good and really local based. So let me show you. If I go to my apps here, I have my app on the left top corner here. It's called Clear Outside. It's free. You can download it from your how do you say it, from your app store. And you can just put in some locations here. You can see I've saved up a couple of locations from my favorite locations that I come to. And for example, the one I want to go to tomorrow is in the place called Afferde. So let's go to this weather. You can see here it's now Wednesday, and if I just continue here to the right, you can see I'm now entering Thursday morning at sunrise. So what I look for, if you look down here, you see the humidity is really high. So it's usually a good indicator that there is a little chance of some fog. The wind is actually pretty low, and the chances of fog are 0%. That's what it says here. But the temperature is really cold. You can see down here around sunrise it's 9 degrees and the dew point is 7 degrees. And what actually happens when these two are pretty close together, if that is close together, it often means that this water is starting to vaporize in the morning. And you've seen it in a lot of my videos. There's no fog around anywhere, but just above these little lakes in this specific area, it usually means that this fog is starting to rise from the water. If you go up here, you can see the fog is 0%. This type of fog, where it comes out of the water, it's never predicted in an app or on a website or anywhere. You know, you really have to know what type of conditions will be available for that specific type of fog. If you look at the fog in this app, if this says, for example, 100%, which happened to me in last week's video, then you just can't see anything. You know, it's just a massive amount of fog. If I have fog like that, I tend to go to places like woodlands or try stuff with some really old gnarly trees. But there's no use to go somewhere where you can shoot a beautiful sunrise if you can't see anything. I've tried it, I've done it, but it's really difficult. And these days, I much rather prefer to go to woodland areas when there is 100% fog predicted. And usually this high humidity, low wind, and a dew point here, getting close to the actual temperature, is usually a good indicator that there is going to be some fog rising from the water in the morning. So you can see this for a lot of different locations. For example, I know the place that I've programmed here, Ermelo, it's a really good woodland here in the Netherlands. And if you just scroll through it, you can see here it says rain, 100% humidity. So that's something you have to be careful for. If you want to avoid rainy situations. So you can all see it in this specific app, and it's just really handy. This top section here, I actually never use it. I only look at visibility, fog, the amount of wind, temperature, dew point, and the humidity. So that's the most important to me. So another app that I often use is called Windy, and you can see it here. This actually, you can use it anywhere in the world, and you can see from what side the wind is coming. And this is particularly interesting if you're looking for fog. You know, fog only appears when there's no wind around, or it almost never appears in my country when there is a lot of wind. So I always look at which way the wind is coming and what the strength of the wind is. So right now you can see it's really low. It's a blue area here in the south of the Netherlands. So there's not any wind at all in this area. And if you go, for example, here to the sea area here, you can see it's starting to get orange, and which usually means that there is a lot more wind around in that area. So if you look across Europe, it's all, yeah, pretty okay, decent weather, except here next to Ireland. You know, there's some really strong winds here between Ireland and Iceland. So a really good indicator for the strength of the wind in your local areas. And this app, Windy, it works everywhere in the world. I've used it in every country that I've been to. Yeah, if I look at it, it's only in Europe, but if I zoom out, I think you can go to America here. You can see here there is a real big tropical storm approaching the east coast of America. So hopefully that's not going to cause any damage around there. But it's a really good app to see what wind is going. So there's one more app that I want to show you, and that's called PhotoPills. And I think everyone knows this one. This is about 10 euros that you have to pay for it in the App Store. But it's really handy. You can do a lot of stuff in it for star trails and distance detection. But actually the only thing that I really use it for is a planner here, where you can see the exact time and position of the sunrise. This is the Postbank where I was in last Sunday's video. And you can see if I just point a certain location, it says the sun will rise at 6:23 in the morning. And the yellow line is which way the sun is rising. So you have a really good indicator on where the sun is about to rise. So, and like I said, it all depends on the weather when I decide what location I'm going to visit. I never go to a specific location and just hope that the weather is going to be nice there. I just look at the weather in the evening, and usually just before I go to bed, I check all these apps and see what type of weather it's going to be. You know, if it's going to be a clear sunny day without any possibility of fog, local fog anywhere, I usually go to, let's say, a woodland, you know, where you can use the trees to hide that hard light and yeah, get a little bit of a softer light. Or I go to a location, but usually I can only take one shot, and where I can get a sunrise, where you can just get the sun over the horizon somewhere, and then the light is gone. So you only have one shot on these particular locations. So that's why I love the area where I was in last Sunday's video, the Postbank. You have a large heather area there with a beautiful woodland around it, and you can really take a nice, decent sunrise shot there and then go into the woodland. So you have two things on one day, but you can continue on photographing in great conditions. If you have extreme fog, yeah, just go to a woodland or some place where you know you can use some paths like you've seen in last week's video. But choose an area that suits that location. That's actually what I want to give you with this video. It's not about going to the location and hoping for the right weather. I think you have to adapt to the weather to make sure that you will get the most of your photo trips. And that's actually very important. That's what I started to do about 2 years ago. And it really brought me so many opportunities. And I rarely go out on a trip without taking one decent image. At least one image that I'm thinking of, this was worth going out for. And that's what I want to give you. If you adapt to the weather, and if you choose your location depending on what type of weather is predicted, you will massively increase the type or the amount of stayer images that you are going to create. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope you liked this little video. If you have any questions about it or anything about these apps, I will name them in the description down here so you can look at them yourself. These are all free apps. You don't have to pay anything for them. So yeah, really interesting. So Windy and the other one, Clear Outside, you can just download them from the web store. I'm not paid or sponsored by them or anything, but these are just really good and interesting apps for any photographer. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little weather forecast video. If you did, don't forget, push the thumbs up button. And there's also a subscribe button underneath this video. I'll put it down. It is underneath this video, so not this button here, but underneath the video. If you push it and select all, you will get a message when I release my next video. And stay around for this Sunday's video at least, because this Sunday I'm going into a really great woodland with extremely foggy conditions. So yeah, I think some really nice images. So once again, thanks for watching. Hope to see you this Sunday. Bye bye.